Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. This is Fitness Friday. I'm here to talk today with you guys a little bit about bloat, belly bloat. If you're here, say hi, wave at me, give me some love. I could use some extra hearts this morning. I had a rough night's sleep. You know those nights where you just can't sleep? I had one of those. I'm going to kind of pause a little while people are logging on. Hi, good morning, Gabby. Hi. Hi, Kelly. Okay, so this is a super common thing that I get asked about a lot. And so I thought I would talk about it today. A lot of women come to me with not only like issues with digestion and not understanding what's going on with their digestive system, but also just bloating in general, right? And hi, Mary. Excuse me. So if you guys are here, let me know you're here. Wave at me, say something. But so I wanted to talk about the two different types of bloating because it's very different. Like I think people assume that, when you're swollen, that might be, digestive issues. Well, really, edema, which is swelling of your face or your hands or your ankles, is called edema. Okay, so edema is different than digestive bloating issues, right? Like belly bloat. Completely different. So I'm going to explain to you first what edema is or how it's created. And when you wake up some mornings and your eyes are swollen and you feel like, what happened? What happened last night? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened and then how to prevent that type of bloating. And then we're going to move on to kind of some digestive situations. And Americans are dealing with more digestive issues now currently in our diet culture and how we're feeding ourselves and fueling our bodies than ever before. So it's an important issue. So I'll get into that also. Okay, so I have some notes on my board that I'm going to be referencing, mostly because I'm going to get into some science and some of the science statistics and things like that. I like to be able to make sure that I can remember the exact things for you so I don't give you any misinformation with just guesstimating. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the swelling of the face. I'm going to adjust my camera here. Swelling of the face, waking up with swelling hands, can get your rings on, things like that. So that's basically the cause of, it can be caused by a number of things, but the most common thing is because a very toxic amount of sodium that can be related to dehydration. So when your body is dehydrated, the first thing that happens is your face and fingers and things like that will swell, okay? So when you're dehydrated, your body will kind of shut down. Your kidneys will stop flushing some of that from your system. So most of the time, your kidneys are going to flush out minerals such as magnesium, potassium, and then the last thing is the sodium. So you're not flushing out that sodium to get rid of that edema. And so when I talk about bad toxic sodium, I think it's toxic because it doesn't contain any minerals or electrolytes. Same thing. In a certain way, okay? So what I mean by that is it's like a zero value salt. So it's the iodized salt, the salt that doesn't have the minerals in it. So the Himalayan sea salt, things like that, that has the actual minerals in it, the sodium, which is potassium and magnesium, which will help kind of flush your kidneys out and will prevent you from getting that bloat. So if you're adding a lot of salt to your food, in fast food, or if you're going to like a Chinese restaurant and you're getting a lot of sodium that way, you really want to cut that back to avoid the edema. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's also osmotic, and osmotic means that it swells in the vascular system, it swells in our muscles, it swells in our body. So the sodium creates a swelling effect instead of a flushing effect. And so that's why we always want to use the Himalayan pink sea salt. Is that making sense with you guys? Okay, so another really good thing to do if you're swollen, if your eyes are puffy, your hands are swollen, hi Mary Beth, is you want to, this is a quick little tip. This is a trick. It's a fast fix. Is to grab a little cream of tartar. Isn't that crazy? So cream of tartar has tons of potassium, and so it will help balance out those electrolytes and minerals so that you can, flush out some of that edema. Does that make sense? I know that's kind of crazy, but if you mix a little cream of tartar into your water, that's going to help flush some of that out. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more of the sciencey stuff when it comes to digestive situations and belly bloat. So quite a few of my clients, me included in the past, have had some digestive issues. And so I really wanted to talk to you guys about that, because I think there's a big difference here and what's actually causing the belly bloat. Now, before we go any further in this issue, I want to be very clear about one thing. I'm not giving medical advice. I am not a doctor. If you are having digestive issues, please consult your physician. Okay, there's my disclaimer. And I'm actually going to be bringing my physician on. Her name is Lindsay Wells. She's actually a nurse practitioner, and she's a hormone and gut health specialist, onto my Thrive Live show on the 23rd of this month. So look out for that, because she's brilliant. I go to her for everything. And she's a wonderful source of information. So I rely on her a lot for a lot of this information. Okay, so let's move on. So why do we get bloated in our stomach? Why do we have bloating? Why do we get gassy? Why does our stomach get distended at the end of the day? Sometimes we're like, it's 8 o'clock at night and your stomach's out to here. You wake up the next morning and it's not. So let's talk about that. So there's lots of different causes. Some are, of course, IBS, which is a medical condition, and also SIBO, which is another medical condition. SIBO is actually a small intestine overgrowth of bacteria. Okay, so most of our bacteria needs to happen in the large intestine, but SIBO is when the bacteria has an overgrowth in the small intestine, which can cause a severe amount of gas and bloating, especially after you eat. Okay, so if you're having some of those symptoms, it might be something you talk to your doctor about. I know there's saliva tests you can get for SIBO now. So those are some types of reasons why you might be having it. And I don't want to talk about gut health and gut microbiome today, because it's another topic. I mean, it's honestly, I could talk about gut microbiome forever. So that's another Fitness Friday. And we'll probably get into that and talk to Lindsay about that too. But I'm going to just skip over the gut microbiome because I can't get on that tangent. And we're going to go on to some other things that might be causing it. So also, if you're eating a lot of vegetables and you're finding that it's really hard to digest, and you're finding that it's difficult, right? Your body just doesn't do well with, even if they're cooked, right? It might be that you consider doing a FODMAP diet. So the FODMAP diet is, I have to pronounce this correctly, so it's a fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, polymers. So it's foods that are low in those. And so a lot of those foods are like your cruciferous vegetables, which are great for you. But if your body's not breaking those down properly, then you might need to go onto a low FODMAP diet. Now, I can post that here for you guys to see what that actually looks like. But some of the FODMAPs are fermentable foods. So fermentable vegetables that get into your system, they actually ferment and can't be broken down, and that's causing that gas, the methane, the hydrogen, which creates the gas and bloating in your stomach. Okay, so that's something to consider. The other thing, and the polymers, the polyols, I keep saying polymers, the polyols are actually sugar, alcohol sugars. So a lot of our processed foods now, like the artificial sweeteners, have that. And so a lot of times it can't be broken down in our stomachs because it's a sugar that can't be broken down because it's fermentable. And so what happens is it gives you a lot of that pressure, right? Okay, so that's one reason. So we've talked about the FODMAPs, we've talked about the IBS and the SIBO. Let's also talk about low stomach acid. So this is really interesting. So I want to talk to you guys about this, especially as we age. Our stomach acid starts to decline. So we need that stomach acid because the stomach acid, keeping it in proper pH, which is like a 2 to 3 for stomach acid, once that stomach acid, it gets triggered in our brains for our liver to start producing bile, okay? Bile, which is produced in our gallbladder, which is right underneath our right rib cage, is a gland that produces bile to help you break down the food before it goes into your stomach and your intestines, which can alleviate some of that gas and bloating, okay? The other thing is that the pancreas, which is also triggered by this acid in our stomach, the pancreas detects the food that we're eating. Our human bodies are amazing. I love this stuff. Detects the food that we're eating. It's right underneath your left rib cage. And what happens is it releases enzymes, the proper enzymes, into your system so that you can break down that particular food. Crazy, right? Are you guys getting this? Is this helpful? Hi, Satori. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Mom. My mom's here. So does that make sense? Okay, so all these things are really important. Now, if we don't have good stomach acid production, those things can't be triggered. They can't be triggered. So how do we create more stomach acid? So the funny thing is that people that have indigestion, they take antacids all the time. No. So antacids actually reduce the stomach acid in our system, which is what we don't want. We actually want to increase it. So people that have indigestion have low stomach acid. Isn't that crazy? So we want to increase it. Okay, so how do we do that? Good question, because it starts to decline and decrease as we age. So we have to repair it. So a really good way, and especially if you've taken a lot of antibiotics in your life, that your stomach acid is probably low. I'm sure if you have indigestion, if you're starting to get that like reflux, your stomach acid's low. You've got to increase it. So if you're in my programs, you know that I have people take this concoction every morning. This concoction is not only built to help you burn and blast through fat, but part of the reason why it does that is it increases your bile. When you increase your bile, you can increase and help your digestion, which helps you lose weight. All makes sense. Okay, so those of you that are in my programs, you know my little concoction, and I actually give it away for free as a freebie if you sign up for my newsletter. So if you haven't done that, sign up. But it contains apple cider vinegar. Another tip to add to your routine if you're trying to increase your stomach acid is betaine hydrochloride. It's a big word, but it's a naturally occurring substance, and you can supplement with that. You can get it in any health food store. So that's something you can take before your meal to help your body produce more bile so that you can digest your food more properly and not get that gas, bloating, distended feeling where you can't zip up your jeans. Does that make sense? Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about is what you are probably doing that most of us do is we eat a lot of carbohydrates. This culture is consumed with eating bread, pasta, rice, all of those things. And they really do cause your body to bloat. And I'm going to tell you one reason why. And it also decreases your digestive abilities, because what happens is when you guys take that bread in, it's like an absorber. It's like a sponge, right? That's why it feels like you're so full after you eat a plate of pasta. It's a sponge. And what happens is it absorbs all of the stomach acid. It absorbs it, you guys. Well, we need stomach acid to help us digest our food. Does that make sense? So if you're eating all of these carbohydrates, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're going to get bloated. You're going to get gassy. You're going to have distension. That's just a fact. So try to lower and reduce those foods. I always recommend that my clients get a lot of their nutrients and carbohydrates from green leafy vegetables. And if you're trying to do the low FODMAP situation, you want to adjust the vegetables that you're eating, but still eat them. And that's because vegetables breed different gut bacteria. That's another topic. We can talk about it another time, but that's why a variety of vegetables is important. Now, vegetables do have something in them called cellulose. So our body is not designed to break down cellulose. So that's why sometimes after a big salad, you'll feel bloated and gassy. Okay, because that cellulose is very hard to digest. So if your body is having a hard time with digestion, you're having digestive issues, I recommend a lot of people blend their vegetables, spinach, kale, such, in their smoothies. And that's, again, if you're part of my program, you already know this. Well, the reason why is because it breaks down the cells. It already starts the process for you. So it gives your body an opportunity to already have the process of breaking down the food kind of before you start. Right? The first step, of course, is saliva and chewing, but most of us don't chew our food, and we swallow a lot of air with our food because we eat fast. So another way to reduce that bloating is to slow down, chew every bite till it's completely almost dissolved in your mouth, then swallow your food. That will help immensely. Okay? All right, so the other thing that causes bloating in people is dairy. So there's a sugar in dairy called lactose. Inside lactose, there's a protein called casein. Casein is a protein that can definitely bloat people. And so basically when people say they're lactose intolerant, it's mostly about the protein in the lactose, which is the casein. So if you have some sensitivities towards dairy, avoid it, because that protein is usually present with all lactose. And so it's going to cause a lot of bloating. Okay, so you want to try that out. If you're feeling like you might be lactose intolerant, do a little of an elimination diet for a week and see what happens without it. It's also, dairy can be very inflammatory. So if you're having inflammation issues, you definitely want to avoid that overall. Okay, so a few things that I want to talk to you guys about, some tips. Okay, so this is where it gets a little juicy. I'm going to give you a little recipe right now. So if you're close to a pen, write it down. If not, replay this, because this is the magic potion. Now, most of my clients that work with me in my programs, my 60-day program, they have the apple cider concoction. And again, you can get that for free if you go to my newsletter and sign up. But here's another tip for you that I'm going to give to you today. So this is something I've been doing forever. And it is a concoction that sounds very strange, but it's very helpful to not only help eliminate, ease digestion, and clean you out, but it's also designed to help get rid of edema. So that face bloat, when you wake up in the morning and you haven't slept like I haven't, and you have a little bit of swollen, puffy eyes, your face looks like a big round ball or a puffer fish. This is a solution for that. So what you want to do is you want to grab some dandelion tea. You want to brew your dandelion tea, okay? And you want to brew it pretty strong. And you want to create like about this much of the dandelion tea. Put it to the side, chill it, put some ice in it, whatever you need to do, okay? Then you're going to take a lemon, celery, parsley, cucumber, and ginger, and you're going to juice it. Now, if you don't have a juicer, get a high-powered blender. Most of us have one of those. And I'm not talking the lemon rind, I mean the lemon. Okay, you're going to juice it all together, pour it into your dandelion tea that's steamed or that's already been brewed but now chilled, and drink it. This is a trick and tip from my vault that I've been using in order to, if I just need to have an event or I have something I'm doing or anything like that and I need to just de-bloat, depuff, cleanse everything out, that's what I do. That's a very top secret vault trick from my years of experience in this industry and having to be doing fitness modeling and getting on stages. So there's my tip for you. I hope that you all wrote that down because it's awesome. And I'm also, if you sign up for my newsletter on Sunday, I'm going to be putting this information into my newsletter so that you have it in written form. I'm going to be putting in my newsletter this Sunday everything about the FODMAP diet, the foods that you should be eating and shouldn't if you feel like that's part of your problem. And then I'm also going to be giving you my recipe for my quick and easy deep bloat smoothie or juice that is sure fix every time. Okay, so what I want you guys to understand too is just one more thing I want to recommend if you're having some digestive issues. And something that I've been doing for a few years now, it's called digestive bitters. And I've recommended these to a few of my clients, and it's very helpful. So digestive bitters will help increase bile production in your system right away. It's almost instant. And so you take them before, they come in droppers. It's like a little liquid. It's like a little tincture. And they come in a little tincture form. You take them in before you eat your food, and it really helps. And then with your meal, you also might want to consider adding an enzyme. So your pancreas is supposed to do the work for you, but if it's sluggish and it's not working correctly and producing those enzymes to break down the food, you want to give it a little help. So there's Protease, there's bromelain, you can get those at the store. Those are also supplements that are very helpful to take to aid in digestion and create those enzymes to break down the food. It's a lot of information on bloating. Okay, so this is really interesting because these are a lot of quick fixes. These are a lot of things that will help you right away in the moment, but really it's about getting our gut healthy, you guys. It's really about breaking it down and figuring out our gut bacteria and our gut microbiome. So I really want to talk to you more about this, and I might even ask Lindsay when she interviews with us on the 23rd to talk to you guys a little bit more about gut microbiome and how vital it is. I mean, there's actual studies right now. I don't know, and it's kind of nasty to talk about, but all this new research is happening on fecal transplants, and I don't know if you've heard about that, but they actually have the studies done that fecal transplants from skinny people to people that are overweight lose weight right away. It's all about the bacteria. There's like trillions of bacteria in our body. Trillions, like seriously. So you've got to feed those, the good ones, so that your body can process food and digest it better so that you can be healthy. It all starts with your digestion. I mean, the link between the brain and leaky gut syndrome is insane. And a little bit about just one thing about leaky gut syndrome is what happens is the overgrowth of bad bacteria starts to develop yeast, especially if you're eating a lot of carbohydrates like breads, pastas, which most Americans do, right? The yeast develops into fungus. This is true. This is a true story, guys. No joke. Fungus starts to grow into your gut, into your intestines. When that happens in your stomach, they have these tentacles. Not very much fun to talk about, but they actually attach and they cause leaky gut syndrome because they drive holes into your intestines, your stomach. So it goes down the line. So if you're not taking care of your gut health, you could be putting yourself into a situation where you've got leaky gut syndrome, which actually has been proven to really affect our brains in a major way. So, and our overall health. So it's pretty dangerous stuff. And there's some H. pylori, which is a nasty little thing that gets fed in our systems if we don't take care of our gut. So I will actually talk about gut microbiome. I think it's important. I'll give you the information that I know without the medical background. I don't have a degree in medicine, so I'll give you what I know from my research, but then maybe I can have Lindsay come in and kind of solidify that with some medical, with her expertise as a doctor. So anyhow, there's my lesson on bloating, and I'm right at 20 minutes. Look at me. I actually finished on time. Cannot believe it. You guys did not have a lot of questions for me. Oh, Mary Beth asked about the cream of tartar. So you mix it in a little bit of water. You just mix the cream of tartar and a little bit of water. Just down it, just chug it. It's a chug situation. And you can get cream of tartar anywhere. Tons of potassium, but also like avocados have tons of potassium without all the carbohydrates. A lot of people say, oh, eat a banana. Don't eat a banana. Don't eat a banana. That's not my recommendation. My recommendation is to get your potassium from healthy fats like avocado. I think I've got a new question, so let me ask. You said, can you repeat that? I don't know which part, but let me know, Mary Beth. Oh, you're talking about the bitters and the enzymes. Oh, they've helped you a lot. Oh, good. Okay. And then you said, can you repeat that? I don't know what part to repeat. So just let me know exactly what you're talking about, and then I'll definitely comment here later. Oh, Satori, you're so nice. She said that I'm a nutritional expert. I appreciate that. I'm not. I'm really not. It's just my own research. I mean, this is what I do. I read a lot. I do a lot of research. So this is just me kind of gathering information from you, from medical resources, studies, journals of medicine, and experts and doctors in the industry that I compile so that I can share it with you in a more palatable way. So hopefully that helps you guys. Okay. All right. So thanks, Mom. Yes, our bodies are incredible machines. We have to take care of them. And thank you for always taking care of yours, because you are like the most super healthy 66-year-old woman on the planet. And I owe a lot of that to you for my own health. So thank you for always showing up and showing me that and demonstrating that. You guys, my mom is insane. She works out all the time. She's always moving. She always takes care of her body. She's just a great role model. Okay, I'm done now, I promise. Go back and watch this, share this, you guys. The way that I know it's helping and landing with you is when you share it, when you invite other people to listen and you think it'll be helpful. And so I always put these on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, it's FitLed, and all these videos go there with a plethora of information that we talk about every week. So if you're missing one or you can't quite find it in the group, if you're not in Instagram, if you're not in the Facebook group, you should be. But if you're not, then you can always find it on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to link my link here for you to sign up for my newsletter so you guys can get it and you can get this information on Sunday. And then in that newsletter, I always kind of write down what we talk about in Fitness Friday so that you have kind of a more visual of the details and the talking points. So hopefully you found that valuable. Okay, you guys, well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It's beautiful in Sun Valley, Idaho. I'm headed to Boise for Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. Mom, happy Mother's Day. I love you so much. And I hope you celebrate your mothers in your lives and you treat them special and give them lots of love. Okay, bye, guys. Have a great weekend.